This is how a fortune teller saved my life. One night after work, my friend Abby and I decided to go out and grab a drink. On the way, Abby noticed a little hole-in-the-wall business that had a sign out front that said psychic readings. Abby's always doing spontaneous and super random things, so of course she pulled over as soon as she saw it and insisted that we go in. I was apprehensive at first, but she talked me into it. I never believed in this sort of thing, but I figured I'd go in to make Abby happy. As we walked in, we were greeted by a very old woman that reeked of cheap perfume. She brought us to the back room where I noticed 3 or 4 cats lounging about. She read Abby's palm first and told her a super generic fortune that sounded like she got it off of Google daily horoscopes. I couldn't help but to scoff. When it was my turn, she grabbed my hand and began reading my palm. She seemed to be taking forever with my reading. Then she looked up at me with a worried look, gripped my hand so hard that it hurt, and said, "You will receive something that doesn't belong to you in the coming months. It will be wet. Stay at a friend or family member's house that day, dear." I gave her a strange look and we left and went on with our night. Little did I know this piece of information would end up saving my life.
Story time. Am I wrong for not sending my friend my work? I'm in college in the UK studying engineering. It's not the easiest, but it's definitely manageable. Every time we get a new assignment, my friend asks for my work. Every single time. I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's not the brightest person out there. We're doing a math module at the moment, and he really needs to pass this module to get into university. But he's just hopeless. He never takes the time to do the assignments, and he just leeches off of everyone at every chance that he can get. His grades in other courses aren't great, but this is by far his worst grade. I'm fed up of sending him my work. I'm literally carrying him to university. So am I wrong if I stop sending him my work? Or should I try to help my friend get into university and figure his life out?
Storytime. My girlfriend wants me to propose again because she didn't like what I did it the first time. I decided to propose to my girlfriend of 3 years on our 3rd anniversary. I flew her to Vietnam, and after a couple of weeks traveling, we ended up in Cambodia. These were all places that were on her bucket list. After a long day of hiking in the heat through ruins, we retired back to our hotel, and when we were alone together, I proposed and she said yes. She took a shower, and I laid in bed thinking what an amazing day I just had and how I would get to spend the rest of my life with the woman I loved. When she came out of the shower, she was in tears. She handed me back the ring, saying she couldn't accept it because she didn't want her memory of my proposal to be in a hotel room. I played it cool and said I understood, but truthfully it hurt. I took her halfway around the world and helped her cross something that she wanted to do most of her adult life. I felt that if she valued me, it wouldn't matter that the proposal wasn't exactly what she wanted. It was me and our future together she was saying yes to and not my delivery. If she found $1 million in a dumpster, she wouldn't throw it back because of where it came from. So she can't possibly value me or what I have to offer as an individual. I'm preparing to end things when we get back. But am I wrong? Should I do it over?
Story time. Ignore my girlfriend's request for me to come over immediately. Every Saturday morning, my friends and I meet up to play soccer. This morning, while we were in the middle of a game with some other groups of guys, my girlfriend called me because she got a visit from a few of her friends who she told me about, and she asked that I come over immediately because her friends wanted to meet me. She lives about an hour away from the park where we play. I told her I'd be over as soon as the game ended, within a half hour. She said nothing and ended the phone call. After the game ended, I immediately showered and went over to her house. I even skipped the breakfast we normally have together after the game. When I got there, her friends had already left, and she gave me the silent treatment. I apologized profusely and offered to invite her and her friends to lunch in town. She still ignored me, and that annoyed me. I told her I didn't know why she's mad at me, but when she's ready to act her age and use words to explain how she's feeling, she knows where to reach me. I also added that lunch offer still stood until 2:30 when I have to go visit my brother and his wife. Am I wrong? Was I wrong for not going over immediately? Story time. Accidental murder on a first date. I met a girl in a college class and noticed she was looking at golf clubs on eBay. Being a golfer myself, I figured it was a perfect conversation starter and went with it. After an exchange of numbers and some conversation, we had a golf date at a local country club for the next afternoon. The first few holes went well, but then the 7th hole happened. I'm about 230 yards away from the green, so I pull out my wedge. I see the pair of sandhill cranes that were about 150 yards down the fairway, so I paid them no attention. I take my swing, and to my surprise, the ball was a low-line drive that got no more than a few feet off the ground. And to my surprise, one of the birds was in the way of the ball. It was a direct hit to the neck, and the bird went down for good. Sandhill cranes mate for life, so if one of them dies, the other will sit there for hours crying for the other one. It was sad, but little did I know she loved these birds, and the look on her face was horrific. She broke down in tears. We played the last 2 holes with maybe exchanging 10 words. Didn't hear from... Story time. My girlfriend lied about her past with her male best friend. I've been with my girlfriend for about 4 months. It's been great so far, and I really do love her. She has a guy best friend who she talks to every day and sees pretty frequently. She mentioned that they traveled to Asia together for about a week a year ago, by themselves. I asked her several times in our relationship if they had any history together, and she strongly declined, telling me that she could only ever see him just as a friend. Fast forward to last night, in a group discussion, one of her friends had accidentally joked about the fact that her and her guy friend had actually been involved during that trip. I asked her about this, and she owned up by saying that they had a drunken encounter while traveling, and that was it. She says that she really thought she liked him at one point, but it was simply a result of the experiences that they shared on that trip. I talked to her about this and expressed how hurt I was. She said sorry and promised to make up for my lost trust. My problem is now trying to understand how I can move forward without feeling insecure or paranoid. I don't trust my girlfriend. We've been together for a little over a year, and I'll start by saying that she's told me that she's cheated multiple times in previous relationships and has been the type to line up the next guy, as they say. She's also told me that she took time to work on herself and she's not the type of person anymore. And at first I was okay with it, despite raising a minor red flag in my head. I'm trying not to hold her to her past mistakes, but recently it's really been weighing heavy on me. She works in an office setting and her team recently hired a new guy. She's been talking to him and about him a lot lately. She told me that another female coworker made a comment something along the lines of, "Ooh, so you and the new guy, eh?" Which made me feel uneasy as it implies that they act flirty together. I'm heavily considering the fact that maybe I'm just being insecure and might have some deeper trust issues, and if that is the case, I'm not sure how I can work on that issue while still being in a relationship with her. Any thoughts or advice? I just ended things with my girlfriend of over a year. We live together and have shared a lot of love and good times. She's very generous, loving, kind, shared responsibility pretty well around chores, and made me feel special with dates and gifts regularly. She helped me through some very hard times this year. I often thought that we'd be together forever. But something was missing, and our communication often felt off. She would easily become defensive to me, voicing feelings, needs, raise her voice or speak in an angry tone, sometimes even saying hurtful things that she didn't mean, sometimes shut down or even dismiss me for days. We went to therapy, and she made a lot of changes, but I still felt uneasy with her. I could never tell if she was responding to me in a patient way or a hostile way if I raised an issue. She seemed to think that I was asking for perfection and wanting her to watch her tone, listen, not get so reactive. She says that she's making it up that counts, not the conflict. She told me good luck finding someone who can do all of that for you. I feel hurt, and I'm doubting myself.
Story time about how I tried to get my boyfriend back for cheating on me, but I ended up with an STD instead. So a little background information. I was dating this guy for about 7 months whenever I was in high school. And I would always hang out with him, his guy friends, and their girlfriends. Well, the one night we were hanging out at my house and he kept checking my phone. And he said it was because he was waiting for his mom to text my phone. So then he had to go to the bathroom and he asked to take my phone with him. And I said no because that's weird as fuck. So while he's in the bathroom, I get a text from a random number. And it's a bunch of videos that my boyfriend took of him doing the nasty with other girls. And there were like 15 videos, all different girls. So by this time he's been in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. So I go to confront him while he's in the bathroom, like I do not care at this point. And he's gone. My bathroom window is wide open. My curtains are broken. So then I start to text all of his best friends. Like for part 2. Part 3. So a week later, I started having some problems down there. So I had my mom take me to the doctors. Turns out I have a fucking STD. And nobody knew about it, at least not yet. Well, my boyfriend came over that same day asking if we could get back together. So I thought, what an even better way to get back at him. Give him what I have. Mind you, I was still hooking up with all 4 of his best friends. And then like 2 weeks later, my boyfriend started talking to me about how he was also having problems down there. And I was like, oh, maybe you should go to the doctors. So after he went to the doctors, he texts me and he goes, yeah, I have an STD. So then I sent him all the videos of his